I, 25 male, am extremely lucky to be marrying the woman of my dreams, Maya, 24 female. I'm originally American, but moved to Norway when I was 19 to get a college education without paying an arm and a leg. I met Maya when I was 20, and we've been together ever since. We recently got engaged and our wedding is planned for this fall. I wanted to tell my family in person about it, so we planned a trip to visit my hometown to announce it. This is the third time my parents, 55 male and 52 female, are meeting her in person, and the first for more distant relatives. We had a big dinner at my aunt's, 57 female, Deborah, house, where we announced it, and most of my family was ecstatic and congratulated us. My mom, Deborah, and one other aunt did not look that happy. I didn't really pay it much mind at first, but as the evening progressed, Maya told me she felt super uncomfortable with the glare she was getting from the three of them. She's quite shy and not very confident in her English, so we talked in Norwegian between the two of us for the most part. Of course, when talking with my family, we spoke English, but I started to feel the chill from my mother's glares whenever the two of us were talking. I told Maya I'd be right back, and I talked with my dad about what the deal was. He just kind of shrugged and told me, "You know how your mom gets with women you're seeing. Don't worry about it. She's just upset to see that her son is putting roots down and ocean away." He was wrong about not needing to worry. After dessert, my mom stood up and gave a toast. "Cheers to my son and his fiancée. She may not be the best woman for him, but I'm sure he'll realize that once he sees what a witch and gold digger she is. Or maybe she'll grow a conscience and save him from himself. Cheers." Maya left the room crying, and there was a long silence, aside from my mom's and aunt's snickering, before I broke in and said, "You realize that's the choice for who the most important woman in my life is. The three of you aren't welcome at the wedding, and Maya and I will be staying at a hotel for the rest of our time here." And then I left as quickly as possible with Maya. I feel bad for putting Maya through that and don't want her to have to deal with anything like that on what's supposed to be one of the happiest days of our lives. But at the same time, I've been getting calls from my family about how unreasonable I'm being, that my mom was drunk and is just worried about me, etc., etc. My sister, who's no contact with our mother, told me that I royally messed up and probably burned most of the bridges with our family, or at least our mother's side. My mom is very enmeshed with me, and this is part of the reason I moved. She's a narcissist, and my childhood was very much a golden child scapegoat dynamic with me and my sister. Our relationship is much better now, but my sister has a panic attack every time she meets my mom, and that's probably the biggest reason she's no contact. So my sister's opinions matter to me. She's not taking my mom's side. She just knows that I've tried to keep my dad in my life, and this will probably make it difficult to impossible. A lot of my mother's side has said that they won't come unless I re-invite my mom and aunts. My dad said he can't come unless my mom can go, and he really wants to be there. I don't know what to do, and Maya said it's my choice, but she really doesn't want them there. Am I the idiot? Edit. Maya's English is great. It's more about being self-conscious about her accent. My mother made a comment the first time we had a video call, and she's been uncomfortable talking to my family in English ever since. We can't elope. Her parents have already started putting down deposits and making reservations because we're having our wedding in Norway. Most of my dad's family is sane, and they agree that my mom was so beyond the line that I can't invite her. My father is in the least enviable position I can think of, between a rock and my mother. I'm trying to think of ways that he could come, but unfortunately, my mother would almost definitely find out. Not the idiot. You need to put your future wife first. She did nothing to your mother and aunts, and they were vicious. Your dad sounds like a doormat. Using your love for him to basically blackmail you into inviting your viper of a mother is pathetic. OP? Good goddarn riddance. Your mother will only get worse, and your dad will be no help. Don't invite your mother and aunts. Oh boy, in vino veritas. Drug mother let out what sober mother thinks. What your mother said and did was pretty much unforgivable, and the way the rest of your family has reacted shows them up for what they are too. I hear Norway's lovely for weddings. Honestly, I would cut them loose and invite your friends and her family only. Any kind of compromise now will be hurtful to your fiancé. Do you really think your mother will behave at the wedding? Good on you for standing up for your fiancé. There's no excuse for that. Not, oh, you know how she gets, or she was just drunk. You don't call your son's fiancé a gold-digging witch and a toast, laugh at her, make her cry, and get invited to the wedding. Good riddance to those standing with her and your aunts. They'd have probably laughed too if they were there. Also, you didn't burn any bridges. Your mom lit a fire and you walked away. If she regrets it now and wants to build a new bridge to replace the one she burned, she should get a crack-a-lackin' on figuring out how she'll apologize and make amends to Maya. It's really too bad there are so many people in your family who are unable or unwilling to see this. Marry Maya, move an ocean away, and be happy without that kind of nonsense in your life. I, 28 female, am getting married to my fiancé, 30 male, in a few months, and we're finalizing all the details for our big day. One thing that's been causing a bit of tension is that my sister-in-law, 27, just had a baby a few weeks ago, and she's been insisting that she bring the baby to the wedding. From the beginning, we've made it clear that we don't want children at our wedding, as we want it to be an adult-only affair. We've communicated this to all our guests, including my sister-in-law. Still, she's been pushing back and saying that she can't possibly leave her newborn at home. I understand she's a new mom, and it can be tough to leave your baby, but I feel she's being unreasonable. This is our special day, and we've planned it to be a certain way. It's not fair for her to come in and disrupt that. I tried to explain this to her, but she got really upset and accused me of not caring about her or her baby. She's even threatened not to come to the wedding if we don't allow the baby. I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm being too harsh, but at the same time, I don't want to compromise on what we've planned for our wedding. Am I the idiot for telling my sister-in-law she can't bring her baby to our wedding? Not the idiot. However, with child-free weddings and newborn babies, you're going to have people who aren't going to be there because they couldn't make it. It's sad, but kids are a priority in their minds. It is not reasonable for her to insist that she cannot get a sitter, cannot leave her baby with a friend, cannot do anything but try to force you to change your wedding around to accommodate her. It's not about her, so she can stay home. Sad that kids are a priority in their mind? A mother not making her new baby a priority would be sad. It's a newborn, moron. What do you expect her to do with her baby? You are the idiot, OP, because you're calling her planning not to come as a threat. That's the only reasonable option left to her. If you want her there, you will need to make an accommodation for her baby. A few weeks old is far too young to expect her to leave her child with someone else. If you're unwilling to make an exception, tell her that you understand entirely she won't be able to attend. But also, don't be shocked if she finds it hurtful that you'd rather her not be there than compromise your perfect wedding vibe. Exactly. And it's not just about having a babysitter, but also the whole logistics. If she can't feed the baby at regular intervals, then pumping is a pain, and having to figure out where or how to store milk safely. Finding a discreet place to nurse a baby under a nursing cover is easy. However, it's not easy to discreetly pump, clean the equipment, and then store the milk safely. Something is telling me that OP doesn't really understand the logistics involved. My husband got a well-paying job about 8 months ago. Since then, he's become a bit full of himself and started acting very weird with me and around others. He now acts like everything is paid by him, despite me having an above-average salary too, and us sharing finances. At first, it was nice things, him bringing me flowers, taking me out to dinner, booking us a spa weekend. But then suddenly, everything was about him treating me, the smallest things too. I had to listen to his, pick yourself a nice, insert literally anything here. I will buy you anything, even at the freaking cheese counter. The normal things we bought before too were now suddenly treats from him, e.g. the softer toilet paper I like. I tried to talk about it with him several times, but he didn't understand the problem. He acted like this in front of others too. Everyone had to know how much money he made and how lucky I was to be treated so well by him. The last straw was when some friend of a friend said something sexist like, "Women are really good at spending all the money we men make, right?" And my husband laughed and replied that he knows it very well. He just bought me an expensive new bike, and I barely even ride it. The mentioned bike was bought partially from money I got from selling my old bike, and the rest of it was paid with the bonus I received at my job. That was when I decided to start looking for a better paying job for myself. It took about 3 months. I got rejected a ton, and I didn't tell my husband I was interviewing. I got lucky and got a job offer with just a slightly higher salary than my husband's. Instead of being happy, my husband said he felt betrayed by me. He accused me of being petty and not being able to handle him making more than me, despite him trying to make me feel like his money is mine too. When I told him, he did the exact opposite. He said he was just happy he could finally contribute to our marriage too, referring to how my parents paid for our down payment. I think him not being happy about my new job really shows I was right all along. But on the other hand, it's true that I only started looking for a new job out of frustration with him. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. As long as the scales were balanced, he was okay. The moment he had an advantage, you saw his true colors. He has to put others down to feel good about himself. He equates money with the value of the person. He's about as deep as a sheet of paper, an abusive piece of paper. Watch out if you ever find yourself on the wrong end of the scale again. He is not a charitable person. Agree, he's a very red piece of paper. OP, he should be happy for you, not berating you. I also think it says a lot that you felt you had to do this behind his back. That's not the basis of a healthy relationship. Instead of being happy, my husband said he felt betrayed by me. He also sees OP making more money. That will in theory benefit them both as a personal attack, which is so sad. Honestly, I wouldn't care if my spouse ended up bringing home more money after being petty towards me. We're in this together. Money will help our future together going forward. If he's going to stay bothered by the extra income because you're the one who earned it, clearly he never saw what he earned as money for the household to be shared between the two of you to begin with. I'm 44, a single dad to 2 kids, Audrey, teen, and Emily, tween. We have a great relationship, but Audrey can sometimes be rude and demeaning, saying cruel things casually when she's displeased about something or in a bad mood. Emily, her little sister, looks up to her, often mimicking her behavior, which worries me. I cooked a nice Sunday dinner, and Audrey stormed downstairs in a bad mood for who knows what reason. She was a downer, whereas Emily and I were cheerful. I asked her to improve her mood, please, instead of ruining the dinner. She turned to me and unleashed her anger. To quote some of her elegant words, "Can you stop lecturing for once? You're annoying as heck, and seriously, you're the one who ruins everything." I stood up, took her plate, and dumped it in the trash can. I told her since she can't bother to show me any basic respect, she should start providing for herself from now on. She said she'd make cereal, and maybe I was an idiot. I said no, that's my milk, and she should get a job so she can get her own groceries. I don't feel like I yelled at her. I felt like I spoke calmly, but when she realized I was being serious, she got upset and started crying and ran to her room. We haven't talked since. Obviously, she's mad at me, but now my youngest daughter's mad at me too, saying I acted like a huge jerk to her sister. I, of course, don't see it that way. I don't tolerate being spoken to with such a disrespect, and it did hurt me a lot hearing Audrey say those things to me that were uncalled for. So, was I the idiot? Obviously not winning any Dad of the Year award, but will I be winning any Idiot of the Year awards? Edit. I forgot to include that my daughter also made a snide comment about the food not looking good. which was what triggered me to throw her plate away. I did ask her twice at the beginning what was wrong and why she was in such a bad mood. Her response was sarcastic. You wouldn't get it. I asked why not, and she just sighed. I mean, yeah, you are the idiot. I get being annoyed, and I get punishing her, but you threw away her dinner and told her to get a job to provide for her own food and wouldn't let her eat? Like, my dude, when was she gonna get a job on the spot to get a paycheck to buy dinner? I don't know. I don't really agree with withholding food from a kid like that. Yeah, and she should know she can always depend on her dad to provide love and care. Instead, he's teaching her conditional love and that he'll withdraw his care when he sees fit. Extremely unhealthy. No wonder she didn't want to tell him what was happening with her. I mean, who's going to go pour their heart out to a guy who'll starve you as punishment for acting like a teenager when you're a teenager? I mean, wow. Dude, you're a grown adult who apparently can't regulate your emotions. For example, throwing away her food because you're mad. How do you expect your kid to? Should she talk to you that way? No, but she's probably going through something and could use some grace. I'm sure you have a lot on your plate also, but you're the adult. She's your kid. I'd apologize and work on your communication skills. I, 23 male, am finishing my undergrad in the spring and won't be starting law school until ideally this coming fall, but potentially next fall. Naturally, my intention has been to return home for the interim, as I have between classes up until this point. Now, my mother, 53 female, is suddenly requesting $1,000 a month in rent for the room I use at her place. This has nothing to do with finances. She's a landlord on a 6-figure salary from her teaching job. She doesn't need my money. I'll avoid poisoning the well with details of my relationship with my parents, but I will say, I don't think I owe any parent anything. If you choose to have a kid, that's a lifetime commitment to them. I didn't ask for it. I'm about to start going down the list of names for help. I don't have anywhere else to go, and I certainly am not going to have thousands of dollars to give anyone anytime soon. My mother insists that this is normal behavior, and my father agrees and wants nothing to do with myself or her. Am I the idiot for expecting my parent to try and help me? I expect to not be charged living expenses by a parent who has no financial incentive to charge me living expenses. I have no student loans, but that had nothing to do with my parents. They never saved a cent or paid a dime regarding my tuition. For the record, splitting an apartment in the college town I live in would be about $800 monthly. I find charging rent to your own kids very strange, especially if you don't need the money and if the kids are studying or working toward a goal of some kind. So, on principle, I'd say not the idiot. That being said, putting mother and father in quotes and the way you said you don't owe them anything makes me very curious about your relationship. If you choose to have a kid, that is a lifetime commitment to them. OP, how long do you expect a free place to stay? Not judging, just asking. At some point, you are an adult and should be responsible for yourself. Welcome to the club. What are you going to do for the 15 months after your undergrad? You should be working and paying rent. Your earning potential is, relatively speaking, higher than average since you have a degree, and not everyone does. Dude, maybe she's teaching you how being an adult works. If you choose to have a kid, that is a lifetime commitment to them. Yeah, no, it's a commitment till they're adults. You've been an adult for years. Your mommy doesn't need to pay for all your expenses now. You are the idiot. Pay rent or move out, and pay rent.